Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. English meaning, may all be prosperous and happy. May all be free from illness. May all see what is spiritually uplifting. May no one suffer. Om, peace, peace, peace.
Bonnie, can you invite Santosh Sarkar?
Dancing and dogs, and I made them into a successful business. Hi, I'm Ronnie. I'm the owner. Arjuna Uvacha Sanyasam Karmanam Krishna Punaryogam Cha Shamsasi Yachreya Etayorekam Tanme Bruhi Sunishchitam.
Arjuna said, O Shri Krishna, you praised Karm Sannyas, and you also advised to do Karm Yoga. Please tell me decisively which of the two is more beneficial?
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sanyasah Karma Yogascha Nishcheyasakaravubhau Tayostu Karma Sanyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate.
The Bhagwan said, both the path of Karm Sannyas and Karm Yoga lead to the supreme goal. But Karm Yoga is superior to Karm Sannyas.
Neyasya nitya sannyasi yo nadveshti na kamshati nirvandho hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate.
The Karm Yogis, who neither desire nor hate anything, should be considered always renounced. Free from all dualities, they are easily liberated from the bonds of material energy.
Sankhya Yoga Pruthak Bala Pravadanti na Pandita Ekamapyasthitah Samyak Ubhayor Vindate Phalam.
Only the ignorant speak of Sankhya and Karm Yoga as different. Those who are truly learned say that by applying ourselves to any one of these paths, we can achieve the results of both.
Thank you. I like to Shanta Sarkar now say something. He's president of Bhagavad Gita Research Foundation. Shanta, please.
Namaskar, am I audible to you?
Yes.
Good morning from London. This is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we have a symposium. This is the 2025. This is the first symposium. And I invited all of you to join this symposium today. And I would like to congratulate Professor S.K. Ghosh, who is the main speaker today. And the topic management is very interesting, integrating teachings from the Bhagavad Gita into modern mind management, a personal perspective. Very good topics. I hope you will enjoy. Before finishing, let me tell you about Bhagavad Gita Research Foundation. Bhagavad Gita Research Foundation normally is a spirituality and academic platform. And we conduct 3 symposiums in a year and 1 international conference in a year. And also we organize a Gita Yogya in every year. And it has 8 chapters all over the world. It is starting from Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, India, So these chapters are working very well, especially the Australian chapters. They are the chapter presidents, and they are working very well and integrating people all over the world. The spiritual and religious people, they are integrating with this, with their country. And there are many ways to be attached with Bhagavad Gita Research Foundation. From 2025, we made this BGRF a free membership. And we invite you all to join with this BGRF. You are free to join. There is no charge. And also, you may be attached through Facebook and also YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You can be with us. And we are delighted to be part of you. And we are very happy and become excited to meet all of the learned people in Sanatana Dharma to be interacted. And I welcome you again to join this symposium today and hope you will enjoy the day. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you, Dada. Thank you, Santosh Chandra Sarkar Dada. Before we move ahead, I'd like to gently remind everyone to visit our website, please. It's bgrfuk.org. We are a registered charity with the Charity Commission in England and Wales. Now it is my pleasure to introduce today's distinguished speaker, Professor Sandeep Ghosh. He is a highly respected professor and expert in management studies. He has over 25 years of experience and has taught at the Indian Institute of Social Welfare and Business Management, along with other top institutions in Kolkata. Professor Ghosh comes from a well-known family in Kolkata. His great-grandfather was a famous doctor who treated Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa, and his name is even mentioned in the Gospel of Ramakrishna. Along with his academic work, Professor Ghosh is deeply involved in service and spirituality. He is closely connected with Bharat Sevashram Sangha, a respected charitable organization. He also supports the work of the Ramakrishna Mission and other groups that focus on meditation and mental well-being. Professor Ghosh has a strong interest in spiritual science and has taken formal initiation as a disciple under Bharat Sevashram Sangha. Please join me in welcoming Professor Sandeep Ghosh.
So I can start now?
Please, please.
Yes. Before I begin my discussions or my presentations, I would like to convey my thanks to Dr. Datta, who had given me the opportunity to speak over here under this wonderful shelter of Bhagavad Gita Research Foundations. I'm delighted to join you all from Kolkata and present you with my presentation. My presentation is solely focused on the younger minds because as being described my background, that I'm a teacher for the last 25 years in management studies. And let me be very frank and honest that I'm not a erudite scholar in Bhagavad Gita, or I don't have that much of wisdom or prudence, whatever it is, eruditions of Bhagavad Gita. But regularly in all discourses, talks over here in Kolkata around, I was recently in New York last year. I stayed with Swami Sarvapriyananda and Ramakrishna. The lecture was there. And I went to many places in Washington, other places in Toronto and everywhere. Wherever I go, I find the discussion, the spiritual talks are centering around Bhagavad Gita. So all the discourses that I find in Kolkata, all are focused on Bhagavad Gita. So I just want to know what are the mistakes about this Bhagavad Gita. Why all the discussions are based on this? That is my natural tendency from a very young age. Anyway, I'm not a well-read scholar, as I said, but I will present my presentation solely focusing on the stressed mind, traumatic mind, and the younger generations. Thank you. I start. Okay. Share. Full screen. Slide share. ওকে এটাকে কমানো যাবে না, এটা একটু কমিয়ে দেবে, মিনিমাইজ করে দাও।
Yeah, we can see.
Yes,
Quite nice. It's okay, clear.
it's clear, no? Dr. Datta, is it clear to you all?
Yes, it's very clear.
Yes.
Okay. So as going by the title itself, it says that Gita into modern mind management. It's my personal perspective. It may not match with your thinking or maybe with the theme of Bhagavad Gita, but what I personally feel about Bhagavad Gita, and taking some statements or what you can say, put it in my thoughts and presenting over here. You see that I don't need to describe this. What is Bhagavad Gita? It's a scripture within the Hindu tradition and part of the vast epic Mahabharata. And the setting of the background, which is a battlefield Kurukshetra, is a metaphor for our inner conflict, which we are facing regularly. The participant, as you know, it's Arjuna, a warrior prince, representing the struggling individual like us, and with Lord Krishna, which is we consider him to be a god, a supreme authority. As you know that Arjuna is in deep turmoil, he is hesitant to fight. Krishna's teachings, guidance, wisdom guide him on duty, reality, and controlling his mind. It addresses the fundamental human problems that we're facing regularly and offers practical guidelines for to live effectively, peacefully, and efficiently. One of the modern mind is navigating the chaos or confusions of the present world. Why? Because of the constant digital stimulations and information overload, supersaturations of informations. And more so in the current era of AI and digital world. The high pressure environments such as work, academics, social life is also mounting to pressures in the outer circumstance, outer world. That's in the high pressure environments that we're facing regularly. What are the common struggles that we find regularly? Stress, anxiety, overthinking, difficulty in focusing, and feeling of inadequacy or incompetence. Therefore, the need for effective strategies to manage our inner world should be guided from Bhagavad Gita. The nature of our inner world. Gita deeply understands the human mind. It acknowledges our restless, turbulent, strong, and obstinate nature of mind. Arjuna himself admits, like us, how difficult it is to control the mind, which is just like it's a stormy wind. Your mind isn't inherently good or bad. It is a tool. It's a state where you are neither good nor bad. If control, it's our best friend. If uncontrolled, it becomes our worst enemy. So understanding this double nature of mind is very critical and crucial. Gita is the medicine for modern life. It is just like a doctor, supreme doctor. It's a medicine for more prescription for modern life. It offers solutions to questions related to the spiritual as well as to the past and to the worldly or the materialistic world. Its energy and relevance resonate deeply with anyone who faces it, who uses it, who encounters it, and regularly utilizes it in their daily lives because it transcends time and culture. It doesn't demand any material sacrifice, but at the same time, it purifies the mind and soul and enhancing our values and ethics towards our life. The Gita's perspective, the inner battlefield, the setting of Gita on the Kurukshetra battlefield is a symbol of our own inner conflict or our own inner war or battle within ourselves. Within us, there's a continuous struggle between the positive and the negative desires, likes and dislikes, good and bad. Gita helps us to understand these internal dynamics of life or the mind. The mind is powerful, restless, turbulent, strong, and obstinate. The work culture, We have two categories of work culture. One is the divine and the other one is demonic. Gita describes the two types of work culture. One is Daivi Sampad, that is divine, and Ashuri Sampad, which is demonic. Daivi, as you know, it is always positive, full of virtues, like embracing qualities like fearlessness, purity, calmness, ethical behavior, and modesty, which ultimately cultivates cosmic energy or the holy energy or the divine energy. This in turn fosters a holistic and positive environment. It creates a holy ambience. When you go with this kind of quality, automatically creates a holy ambience which is beneficial to others, to the outer world. Ashuri, on the other hand, is ego, jealousy, misbelief, greed, lack of proper performance, and creates a negative and competitive environment or a negative ambience. Developing Daivi qualities within ourselves and actively promoting them in our surroundings is essential from our side to contribute for the genuine prosperity and effective leadership. Teaching 1, Karma Yoga, which is the path of action. This yoga is only of actions, and this yoga speaks of only actions only, performing one's duty dharma correctly and very sincerely. The core teaching, the subtle teaching of Karma Yoga is that we have the right to perform our prescribed duty only, and we are not at all entitled to the fruits of actions or the results. We are not concerned with that in one way, what is being expressed over here. Focus intensely on the action itself and doing our best rather than being attached to the outcome of the action. Why? Because outcomes are not influenced by many factors. Outcomes or the results are influenced by many factors which is beyond our control and effort or within our scope, which is not within our scope and ambit. Karma Yoga, letting go of what we can't control. What are the present stress factors, the stresses in life? For the school children, it is a perfect grades, promotions for the working employees, winning a competition, getting a certain number of likes in our social media. This leads to anxiety about the future and disappointment in the past. Gita's application, if you apply it directly, it says, when you start a task, it recommends, it prescribes. When you start a task, that's maybe studying, working on a project, or preparing for a meeting, consciously tell yourself inwardly, my job is to give the best only in our efforts in the process. The result is not within my control, and I should not worry or get deviated from my main actions. Releasing the burden of worry redirects or deviates the mental energy into the positive aspects of life, allowing for sharper focus and more present engagement with the given task. Teaching 2, that is Buddhi Yoga, cultivating prudence. Gita emphasizes the importance of developing a sharp and discriminating intellect, that is Buddhi. This is a faculty that one can understand, make wise choices, and perceive the reality behind the illusion or deceptions or hypocrisy. A trained intellects, a trained man with the quality of Buddhi help us to differentiate between the temporal and the eternal, what is truly beneficial to us or what is just momentarily pleasurable. Right action versus wrong actions, and that too when in difficult situations like Arjuna's problems or dilemmas. A sharp and determined mind is fundamental to developing consistent wisdom. Teaching 3, and there's the core theme of my presentation, that is Avyasa, and I have emphasized very strongly in this aspect of Avyasa and Vairaga all throughout my presentation, that is practice and detachment. What do we mean? Arjuna asks Krishna how the restless mind can be controlled. Krishna replies, by practice of disciplined regularity, that is Abhyasa, and by detachment, that is Vairaga. Avyasa is consistent and disciplined effort regularly. It's a regularity, Avyasa. Regularly training the mind, like exercising our mind in a mental gym. This involves repeating positive habits and mental gyms. And what is Vairaga? Vairaga is cultivating a quality of non-attachment. This doesn't mean not caring. We should be very careful, but not being enslaved or being controlled by desires or fears, avoidance, or even with our own thoughts. The point is to observe them while maintaining a sense of separation or space without fully identifying with them. Practicing abhyasa and detachment to manage our mental traffic. What are the modern challenges that we face regularly? Getting caught in modern mental challenges, getting caught in loops of negative thinking, worries, dwelling on the past and the future, and impulsive reactions driven by desires. How do we apply abhyasa? What is the application? And these are some of the suggestions that I have mentioned over here to the younger generations, initiating a regular practice, even in brief. For example, dedicating 5 minutes daily to mindful breathing, establishing a consistent study schedule at a right time by setting at a fixed time so that we can perform that in a regular basis with the abhyasa yoga, and allocating time for introspection and reflections. And then with these consistent efforts to cultivate mental discipline, positive happiness, we are on the path of glorifications or to the path of equanimity, which I'll be describing more carefully in my next slides. Vairagya applications. When a worry appears, notice it. Don't immediately get drawn into it. Mentally step back and observe it just as a passing thought. Simply notice it and allowing it to move along like a passing cloud. Teaching 4, Samadhya yoga or equanimity is a state of balance, mental balance, composure, and evenness of mind, which is very difficult to, it's very easily said than done. But if you follow some of the prescriptions which is being said in Gita, I think we can easily do it. Since it is doable, it is being said by Gita. It means remaining undisturbed and peaceful amidst life's inevitable dualities, that is pleasure and pain, and staying neutral during the pleasure and pain, gain and loss, success and failure, praise and criticism. Instead of surprising these feelings, the disturbing feelings, we should focus on creating inner stability that stays calm even when things outside are very difficult and confusing. Samadva in practice, riding life's waves. When something wonderful happens, enjoy it, but remember it's very, very temporary. We should avoid excessive attachment to the outside world, the enjoyment of the outside world. At the same time, when a setback occurs, like tragedy or dangers, whatever it is, acknowledge the difficulty, but consciously strive to maintain internal calmness, that is the inner calmness. And we should respond very constructively from a balanced state of mind to these hazards, problems, traumas, anxieties, worries of life. And we can only do that when you have a balanced state of mind as prescribed in the Samadhi. Recognize that a true worth is not defined by external outcomes or what others talk about to you. True worth is potentially divine and infinite. We should care less about what others are talking about us. Gita students for young minds. Gita guidance for young minds and students. The student's phase is often marked by significant stress due to academic pressures, exams, deadlines, future uncertainties. Gita's wisdom is profoundly relevant for students. Karma yoga, which is very crucial for exam, it suggests, it gives us a strong indications that we should focus intensely on the process of studying and preparation and giving out our best. It releases automatically the anxiety over the final grade if we solely focus on the process of studying, or that is in a work. Buddhi yoga, on the other hand, is an instrument by which we can plan our studies effectively, choose relevant subjects, and bring out reliable informations. It says, don't let a restless mind jump between the tasks and always train it to focus with your Buddhi's guidance. Gita for students, managing social and personal stress, the social pressure, the need to fit in with our anticipated imaginations, anticipated thinking, aspirations, expectations is always creating social pressure upon us. And also the peer pressure, that is the peer groups, and the social media comparison by regular posts in the social media, which creates social pressure. We should use our freedom to identify healthy relationships and genuine values, and practice, again, once again, vairagya from excessive concern about others' opinions and superficial validation like likes and followers in the social media. Emotional turmoil, that is disappointments, conflicts, and uncertainties. We should strive for equanimity, the samatva, which I have described more fully in my earlier slides, when facing social setbacks or challenging personal feelings. Practice observing difficult emotions, that is by vairagya, without letting them command you or dictate your actions. Connecting ancient wisdom with modern practice. Mindfulness. We find mindful meditation every day in different papers, newspapers, that we are having this kind of this meditation, that meditation, but it is all about paying attention to the present moment, non-reactively, and meditation concentrating or focusing upon only an avyasa and vairagya, that is practice regularity and detachment. Cognitive restructuring. It means that utilizing Buddhi Yoga, that is disseminating intellect, to challenge unhelpful, unfavorable, and negative thoughts to ourselves. It challenges, it acts as some kind of a barrier, a safeguard to ward off these unhelpful thoughts in our life. Stress management is focusing on uncontrollable factors, which automatically equals karma yoga, focus on action and not on results. Building emotional resilience, that is ability to recover, come back, and adapt well in the changing circumstances when facing stress, adversity, or trauma. We should align it with cultivating samatva or equanimity, and will ultimately lead us to the right path. The benefits of integration, cultivating resilience and peaceful mind. The benefits, number one, it reduces our stress and anxieties, especially related to results and outcomes. It gives us improved focus, concentration, and productivity by directing mental energy effectively, and creates an emotional resilience to handle life challenges, which we get. Emotional resilience means some kind of by practicing these sadhanas, what we have talked about in the earlier slides, we automatically develop a system, a built-in system with the mind to handle life's challenges and combat, whatever problems comes to our life very, very decisively and very, very prudently. Making clearer decision-making system within us, guided by intellect rather than impulse, and we get a deeper sense of purpose rooted in duty and effort, not on results. And this fosters enough peace, stability amidst worldly chaos. Practical steps to start integrating for the young minds. Suggestions were given by reading translations of Bhagavad Gita and starting with chapters 2, Sankhya Yoga, or chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga. Choose one principle compulsorily, mandatorily, that resonates with Karma Yoga, and consciously we should apply it as an exercise in a specific situations on a weekly basis. And dedicating our 5 to 10 minutes of time daily for introspection, which is not meditation exactly, it is thinking about our own self by deep breathing or simple meditations, again, that is abhyasa. Practical steps to start integrating for the young minds continued. Practice observing your thoughts. This is a practice. The whole ball game is a practice, that is avyasa and vairagya. Practice observing your thoughts and emotions during the day without immediate reaction or judgment. Vairagya, when faced with strong reactions, anger, fear, excessive joy, pause and remember the goal of samatva. Strive for inner balance. Shankar Yoga for the youths. It helps young people to understand they are more than just the changing body, emotions, and social rules. This is to distinguish between the social and real identity. Like in my case, my social identity, Professor Shundeep, goes by that my real identity is my Atman, that is my soul. Cultivating the intellect, buddhi and discrimination, Viveka helps them, and it navigates complex choices in academics, career, and relationships. It also make us a clear perception between the fleeting trends, peer pressure, and it also gives us a sense of the true values of life. To understand the external events and feel is Prakriti, that they are temporary and do not define our core self or the real self, that is Purusha. Reduce reactivity, the reactivity can be reduced by understanding the self as a witness to observe the thoughts and emotions part of Prakriti without being observed to it. Significant lessons to be noted from Bhagavad Gita for youngsters, definitely. Selflessness is the only way to progress and prosperity. Every act can be an act of prayer. Renounce the ego. The whole concept lies in Gita is egoless. If you become ego, the degree of level of improvement, emancipation from the worldly world develops automatically. You have a higher degree of reaching for the higher purposes of life. Renounce ego to get experience of the bliss of infinity or divine. Connect to higher consciousness by practice daily. Immortality of the soul and God presence within all when think about it, which is Vedanta. Importance of performing one's responsibility and duty without attachment to results. Karma yoga. Unwavering, I repeat again, unwavering love for the Supreme Being is a seamless and the easiest path to spiritual realization or self-realizations. We should value of given blessings and see divine all around, that is all around. As our mind and heart to supreme divine, detach from materialistic assets and try to attach to divine. We are not saying that you discard materialistic assets. We are prescribing over here, we are recommending over here, detach your mind from detach yourself, at least your mental self, from the material assets and attach to divinity. And you should go on practicing only. I don't know where you'll be ending up, but if you start practicing, you will automatically find when you detach of the material, automatically attachment to divinity comes. You don't have to crave for it. Mastering the mind and senses by lulling the techniques of exercise of what you have discussed over here, the various techniques of Vyasa and Vairagya. Understanding the modes of material nature to transcend beyond the material world. It means that the material nature is very temporal and we should try to transcend it, emanate from the material world to the higher purposes of life, beyond the material world. The ultimate goal is to liberate from the cycle of birth by surrendering with sincere efforts to the Supreme. Significant lessons continue. Unity of all existence and a feeling of oneness emanating from the Supreme, which is Vedanta. Understanding the temporalness of the world and eternal happiness. All activities, actions dedicating to this divine, it automatically, it goes without saying, it purifies the mind to seek universal harmony and thinking of Supreme as a personal friend, philosopher, and guide continuously, which I'll be discussing if time permits, about the Ojapa Yoga. Faith is a robust foundation for motivation. Faith, the single word faith, is the foundation of the spirituality. If we have the genuine faith, blind faith, it's a solid foundation for motivation and enthusiasm for spiritual practice. Management essence from Bhagavad Gita. It's a timeless connections. It's beyond all ages. Even after 5,000 years, Gita will stay. We may not stay, we are definitely not going to stay, but Gita will stay. Gita offers profound insights applicable to effective self-management and managing interactions with the world. It provides principle for clear and intentions, not confusing intentions and actions, navigating challenges and building a positive, healthy, pleasant, peaceful, encouraging, enthusiastic work culture within ourselves and our environment. Management is integral in daily life. It touches our homes, work, and personal selves. Perfect management can only be achieved, ideally, only by Gita. Utilization of accessible resources and commitment to work. The example of Arjuna choosing Lord Krishna shows the importance of aligning with wisdom and higher guidance to utilize our limited resources wisely and optimally. Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. The famous verse of the Bhagavad Gita advises detachment from the fruits of results, but fully committed to the efforts of work. Dedication solely to duty enhances focus, quality, efficiency, effectiveness, at the same time reducing our stress. Management of anger. Lord Krishna said, the desire, want for sense of objects comes from the attachment, that is Maya, and anger generates from the unfulfilled desires. Our life's purpose lies in our duties and responsibility, fundamentally in a peaceful coexistence with everyone. Peaceful coexistence and pleasant situation, creating a pleasant situation, cordial happiness with everyone. Stability of mind. Sri Krishna says one should exercise stability of mind by yoga meditation to calm emotion, to increase viveka, buddhi, or vichakkhana in the middle of battle. Calmness in the midst of intense activity, as said in Bhagavan Ramakrishna Dev, is very, very apt to this statement, that is the stability of the mind. Surrender to the Supreme Divine. Sri Krishna asks Arjuna to surrender the Lord with no doubts, with blind faith only, and look for the invisible Almighty as a highest divine, as a higher divine, setting aside egoistic nature. Purely on blind faith, without questioning, we can, and surrendering to the Supreme God, we can lead, take us our life to the real path. Conclusion. What are the messages that we get from, and this is my perspective, but from my perspective, what I think, that it's an ancient text offers incredibly relevant and practical for modern mind management. Scope with karma, buddhi, yoga, vyasa, vairagya, and samadva, which is described over here in my presentation, provides a powerful framework for understanding and mastering our inner world. Gita's core philosophy, especially karma yoga, highlights the potential for excellence in work. Every individual, we should understand, is infinite and boundless, and it has boundless or infinite potential. The responsibility is on us to realize this divine potential with our inner consciousness and strive for ultimate excellence in our chosen fields. Trust, I repeat 100 times, trust, believe, blind belief that you are guided and supported by a divine power in all your actions. Finding stability and calmness, regardless of any chaos, disturbances from the outside world, we should practice this stability. And there's a wonderful slogan from Bhagavad Gita, which I have noted over here because I like this statement. When meditation is mastered, that conquering your own self through meditation, the mind is unwavering like a flame of lamp in a darkness, in a wellness place, and guiding others in the darkness to the glorification. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Sandeep Ghosh. What a fascinating presentation. So interesting and insightful in how you have connected the old Indian or ancient Indian philosophy doctrine with the management of mind. The many concept is flowing out of your presentations. And all these concepts you have integrated very nicely with our everyday's life, the life that is most stressful, the life that is comes with the irritations, the problems, and unstable minds or unstable mindset. I'm sure that will have a fruitful discussion. I think at this stage, virtually, as we all are joining virtually, it seems to me that in many regional United Nations, the people joined from Bangladesh, India, Australia, UK, and maybe beyond, quite a number of people. So give him a round of applause, please. Well done, Professor Ghosh. You can also wave your hand. Just give him our
Yes, sir.
appreciations. I think
Yes, sir. Thank you so
this
much.
is well resonated what we are facing nowadays. If you look at the world, the dynamics, the problems, the issues, the challenges we all are facing, I think the Pew Research recently conducted a research and suggesting that by 2060, more than 65% of Americans will become mental. I think that is all resonated with this study. So, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is yours now. I'm sure that you may have many questions, or you can join in the discussions. Please, I think the first question is coming from Dr. Balmukand Bhalla. Dr. Bhalla, welcome, please. Welcome to the discussion.
Thank you very much. Excellent speaker and wonderful slides. First of all, I wonder if we have access to the slides after this event. I will leave it to you. If we have the access, then it is worth sharing those with at least those who are participating, so that we can share with those who could not, for whatever reason, participate, although they wanted to. So if you can make a note of that, please.
Thank you.
Yes, I enjoyed the presentation. Very similar to some of the presentations that we have had in the Gita conferences, and maybe more than that. I do have a question, though. There was one sentence that I would like further explanation on, which is about treating Gita with blind faith and without any questions. I think that goes, in my opinion, I might be completely wrong, but in my opinion, that goes against the ethos of Bhagavad Gita, which is basically question answers. So if we don't question and just blindly follow, and I'm sure some people do that as well, some philosophies do as well, but I think that goes a little bit against the whole ethos of Bhagavad Gita. So if Professor could explain in more detail, maybe he wanted to say something different, but the words mean something different. So
Yes,
please.
yes, Mr. Bhalla, are you from India or from other country?
I'm originally from India, but I've lived in UK for nearly 50 years now.
Yes. This is my thinking that whenever I'm in a tremendous traumatic situations, about 4 years back, my wife passed away and under COVID, and I was beside her bed. All of a sudden, it's a sudden death. And I was praying. The prayer came automatically during that emergency situations. I'm praying to God with a blind faith, if He can come and help me. So that blind faith we should exercise. If we go on questioning, we can never reach to the scientific questions. You see that I've talked about the digital world and the AI and all that. It develops only questions. And the modern times, of course, it's a question answer sessions all throughout Gita. But if you go on questioning, we are creating more confusion in our mind. It is my perceptions that we should mechanically go with a blind faith and see the results. And definitely it goes without saying, controlling your egos. That's all I have for this answer.
No, the word blind is what I'm objecting to. You have already read Bhagavad Gita, so you're not blind. Your faith is not, it is educated faith. That is the difference between blind faith and educated faith.
Yeah, you're right, sir. When we are going for when we are trying to achieve the Supreme's blessings and all that, sometimes it needs an unquestioning mind to approach to the Supreme. And that's what I mean over here.
Well, I agree with unquestioning. Until such a time, we should be questioning. But if we, once we have full faith in God, not blind faith, but educated faith, after reading Bhagavad Gita, then Bhagwan says, surrender unto me. But don't surrender until you have done everything that, the karma yoga that we talk about. From your
Yes,
side,
yes.
you have done everything. I'm sure you did everything possible for your wife when she had this COVID. And as a doctor, I have treated some COVID patients as well. I didn't expect anybody to have blind faith in God. I suggested to them that in addition to treatment, you do your prayers with your knowledge. Do not go blind on it. Do not, we don't have a time limit for our life. We have to die one day, which is one of the things from Bhagavad Gita as well. Everybody who comes to life, everybody has to die. But to mourn about it is not recommended by Bhagavad Gita. Sri Krishna Bhagavan expects us to move on with life with knowledge. So Jnana Marga is important, Karma Yoga is important, meditate on it. So Dhyan Yoga is important, and also Bhakti, but Bhakti, not a blind Bhakti, educated Bhakti. Educated Bhakti that Sri Krishna is supreme. In ISKCON, they call him the Godhead. So if we can, I don't want to stretch it too far, but it's important to remove that word blind from your presentation, if you agree with me. Because
I'm acceptable to your versions, definitely. I don't want to get into contradictions or any kind of, misunderstanding. I thought it that I'm talking to my to youngsters. I think that mechanically in the first is what I feel. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right. Definitely you're right. You are seeing with you're full conversant with the Bhagavad Gita. Well, this is some kind of a, what to say, suggestions to them to go blindly and see the results, and automatically this the questioning after the questionings and all that, getting the assumptions, they can go ahead with their own thinking. The first step is being directed as go with a blind faith. That's it. But if you want, definitely it can be removed. I have no objection to that.
no, just faith is enough. Word faith is good enough.
Yes, that's
Faith
why
that Krishna is supreme and I will follow what you say is good enough. But you don't have to put the word blind. The moment you put the word blind,
okay,
it
I
takes
agree
the
to that. It should be
negativity.
removed. It should be. But let me go on the other hand. You are educated person. You are a doctor. We have no problem in. Nobody has any problem in explaining the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. What about the others who are not aware of the ABC of Bhagavad Gita? How do I can motivate them? How I can say that this is it? This is something it will go over the heads. For them, I'm thinking that if we can take this kind of short techniques, it can fetch out some good results. Okay, but still, I'd say I value our idea that the blind word should be removed. Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
one important thing is the younger generation is far cleverer than us. They don't want to accept anything blindly. They want evidence. They want to know. They have the questioning mind. Why? In our generation, we didn't question so much. We just followed our parents probably. We did question sometimes, but not so much. But this younger generation is questioning all the time. Why go to temple? Why read Bhagavad Gita? Why do this? And their mind is sharper than us, I can tell you from my experience. I've seen two generations after me, and both are sharper than our generation. I'm sure most of the audience will agree to that. And it is our job as senior people to answer their questions with knowledge and with, open eyes, not blind eyes. Yep. Thank you very much. I think I'll give opportunity to others.
Thank you. I think it's a fascinating discussions. The learning through dialectical contradiction is always the efficient. I think debate in the process that creates something powerful, and that is happening. I have 4 people, I think 5 people raised their hand. The first, I would like to give the floor to Professor Sajal Palit from Australia. Professor Sajal Palit, please. Then I have Dr. Aksla, Dr. Shunil, and then I think there's other 2 people. Professor Palit from Australia. Oh, please. You have to unmute. Please unmute yourself. Yeah, it is unmuted. We can't hear you, Professor Palit. Can you raise your sound, please? I think your volume. It is not audible. Not yet. Maybe while you are checking your system, may I, with your permission, it is not audible, Professor Palit. Maybe I can, okay, I can go to Dr. Sethi, Sethi from Mumbai, India. Please, your questions. Then I'll come back again, Professor Palit, please, if you don't mind. Dr. Sethi, please, your question.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Ashla Sethi from Delhi, rather. I was in Bangalore, now I'm in Delhi. So I joined when the interesting discussion was going on and Dr. Bhalla was suggesting a better word for the blind. The better word for me is faith, he pointed out, is a devotion. Because Lord Krishna says, when devotion is there, Gyan will come. Because you are directly connected to the higher power, Lord Krishna, and whatever you call Param Tattva, whatever name you want to give. So when the devotion is there, like we say Upanishad. So this is, Gita is taken under the Upanishad, one of the Upanishad. Upanishad means that you are sitting with the Guru and bowing down with faith and devotion and listening. So some scholars have written it down, but Bhagwan is just spoken. And then it was written down by rishis and scholars, whomsoever we don't know. Vyasji has written this. So a devotion is a better word, I think, instead of blind. And in the Bhakti Yoga, what the scholars say, and when we read in the Gita Parivar, the Bhakti 12th chapter of Gita, we are taught first. And in that, the glory of Bhagwan is clear, and he's explaining the quality of good bhakt. Who is a good bhakt? Priya bhakt. Now and then again and again shlokas are there. So he's saying the one who is above the dualities, sukh, dukh, no? And situation, he's calm in all situation. He's devoid of any anger. He's devoid of any fluctuations in the mind, is very dear to me. So he has shown the path so clearly, and each chapter is so vast. Any kind of mindset can get into that chapter. I was so amazed to read the 8th chapter, Akshay Brahma Yoga, in which he's teaching the mankind, or through Arjun, is how to die. So a whole lot of shlokas in the Akshay Brahma Yoga chapter. So amazingly, and Adi Shankaracharya says, mood mate. So I was explained by a scholar, mood is one who is not progressing in his thought process. So I think devotion is a wonderful way to connect to the higher power and then just follow with devotion, with bhakti, with faith. Devotion is there, the faith will automatically be. That is my saying. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sethi. I'll go back to Professor Palit, from Australia, and then I'll come back to Dr. Roy. Professor Palit?
Yeah, sorry, can you hear me?
It's okay.
Yeah, okay. So thank you very much. It was a very useful discussion, very useful presentation. So unfortunately, that was also my question about the blind faith. But since we have discussed a lot about this, I believe the presenter, when he discussed about blind faith, he wanted to mean a spiritual knowledge. Of course, without spiritual knowledge, one cannot have trust or faith. But that faith was unconditional. Unconditional faith can be called as blind faith. Unconditional, without putting any condition. And without putting any condition or unconditional faith, one can have only when he or she has spiritual knowledge. And to have spiritual knowledge, one has to read either Gita or Upanishad. Upanishad, there are 108 volumes. So it is very difficult to read all those. But Gita, in summary, has included all those Upanishads. So when you read Gita, you get from chapter 1 to chapter 18, when you read, you get all kinds of spiritual ideas, knowledge. And once you have spiritual knowledge, then with full devotion, you can have unconditional faith, what is known as blind faith. But if you say just blind faith without any knowledge, spiritual knowledge, then it is really very dangerous. As for example, there are some other religion with blind faith, they go for jihad because most of them do not have any good faith in God. So they just out of blind faith, they do whatever other peoples are telling them to do. This is called blind faith. And blind faith, because of blind faith, the world is now bleeding. There are fights, there are murders, there are rapes, there are a lot of things going on, wars, and all those due to blind faith. I am not talking about that blind faith. Blind faith means unconditional with devotion, faith in God. When you have enough spiritual knowledge, means you have karma yoga, some bhakti yoga, sankhya yoga, all this you understand. You understand that nishkam karma means what? You understand your responsibility. You understand your equanimity of mind. You understand how your mind works, who controls your mind. It is the intelligence, and who controls the intelligence. All this, when you understand, you can have full devotion to God. And then you can have what we call unconditional faith. That to some extent you can say blind faith. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. I think quite nice interpretation, discussion going on with the global implications. I have next individual who would like to ask question is Dr. Sunil Roy. Dr. Sunil Roy, please, if you may step in. Thank you.
Thank you, Pulduda. It is a very enlightening lecture from Professor Ghosh. Thank you very much for such a wonderful comprehension of everything in one platform. I think Professor Palit has almost said everything that I was going to say. I was going to say the same thing. The blind faith means when there is unquestionable devotion and belief on what you hear or what you believe. And I happen to be so many doctors in the forum here. Once I became a patient of COVID and I was very critically ill. And Dr. Bala, when he said that evidence-based, yes, we practice medicine evidence-based. But when I had COVID, there was no evidence and no evidence-based to follow. So I had to believe what is available in front of us. There was no treatment available. And I was about to be ventilated. But on my faith, I said, okay, I don't want to go for ventilation. I didn't know it was good or not good. Some says good, some says not good. I, as a doctor, didn't know what is good. So I believed in what I thought at that point. And that is my blind faith. Blind means faith that from my educated, calculated guess that this could be the one. But I believed in the blessings and faith on God. And thankfully, that was the right decision. And so I say that repeating the same thing. Once you have a devotion, when Dr. Shetty said, yes, you have a devotion, you have a faith on God, and that faith must not be extremist faith. It should be the welfare and with a good intent, with knowledgeable, educated faith. I think that's what I mean. But main thing I take from this Professor Ghosh's whole speech, that ego is our enemy. And if we can do selfless intent, we always can do well. I think that's what I have to say.
Thank you. Dr. Roy. Fascinating. The debate, discussions, submissions, the suggestions, the points you are raising. Dr. Bal, I'll come back to you. Now I have another person from Australia, Professor Dr. Shukanto Shah. Professor, can you ask your question, please? Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. It's a great presentation. It's a theoretically fantastic. We should have everybody has this copy. Please, if you have any opportunity, please forward to us. We can refer this. Thank you, Professor Ghosh. I have only a small question that these are theoretically fantastic and what is called academically excellent, but how we can translate into practice, and particularly to convince young people, those who have hundreds and thousands of questions. Many of the questions has no direct evidence. There is no empirical evidence, as we all know. So that is my question, that there are so many questions arising from this theoretical perspective. Like one of them say, karmanne badhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachan. Actually, it is our modern life is what is called a result or outcome oriented objectives. So it is very hard to convince young people that whether they say, yes, your explanation is fine, but still, but, ifs. So that is my question. So is there anything that Professor Ghosh can highlight on?
So, it's definitely a very meaningful question. What I feel, that creating a faith or interest upon the young minds is really difficult. And after the coming of the AI and the digital world, and they only have questions only. Now, I'm not suppressing the question. One of the speaker had rightly said that it should be an unconditional. The pre-qualifications that you're educated about Gita, and then you are developing a faith or the bhakti, what our madam was talking about, developing a bhakti solely related to God. Yes, that is practicable. And when you talk about making the Gita very, very practical in the confusing world, I don't think that we can do it immediately. It is not a medicine you give them and a tablet that you give them. You have to develop a culture of mind to understand it. That's the pre-qualifications. I think we should open it to the floor for further discussions. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I think, let me see, there are a few. I hope that Professor Shukanta Shah, it satisfies the points.
There is no answer, dissatisfaction or anything. It is actually ongoing debate. Because I actually wrote one book. I should show you. Can you see anybody this book?
Yes, I'm seeing it. Yes, we can see it. Yes.
All right. This book is now available in Amazon. What I tried to convince young people with a scientific background, that there are so many stories, so many theories in Bhagavad Gita. That's why Professor Palit said is a nice thing, that we need to understand Gita, it is a very concise form of 108 Upanishads. So even the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is 700 pages. So we need to read sometime that Upanishads to understand Gita. So the point I am making here is that we try to make some scientific as well as practical, social, political, or whatever economic way of convincing the young generation that the knowledge is a what is called timeless wisdom. We may not understand immediately, but when we think, oh, these are superstitions or something, some stories. But when the science actually made it, then we believe it. Like one of the story in this book was that, the Yudhishthir, the chariot was 6 inches above the ground. It rides 6 inches above the ground. Now, this is a fictional story, but actually this is not a fictional. Now, science has proved that this is more than a truth. Now, the maglev train in Japan, France, UK, China, all the trains are running above 6 or 8 inches above the ground. So science has proved that this is a possibility. So that one of my hunch is that we try in many ways. Like if you are an economist, try economic perspective, put it into the context and try to explain. I am a scientist, I tried in that way. So that is my first endeavor. So I will stop here. There are maybe a lot of
Thank
questions.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Shaha. The 2 points are another that 2 doctors raised their hands. I'll come back to you. First of all, that PowerPoint presentation with the permission from Professor Ghosh will be shared via the, that we have the WhatsApp group. And also,
yes, Dr. Dattu, I have one suggestions. If you can delete the word blind and use unconditional faith or bhakti.
We'll do.
We don't want I personally don't want to become anybody fanatic.
There is a concept called wisdom of crowd. I think
Yes.
this is one of the things we got it today through the consensus. We'll do it. Please, we'll do it. Secondly, so this PowerPoint also will be, that uploaded via the website.
After this minor correction.
We'll do, yes.
That is,
And then,
yes.
Recording will be posted not immediately after this discussion, but within next 2 weeks. We'd like to make sure that this is professionally edited and then shared via our YouTube channel. We'll be sharing the link via our the WhatsApp group, so you will all get this. Third point, that our next issue of International Journal of the Hinduism and Philosophy will come out end of August. So please, if you'd like to submit your contribution, please do so. I would like to make sure that we have some scholarly articles for the next edition of the journal. Now, let me come back to, I think the first Professor Valla, Dr. Valla, then I'll come back to Dr. Shetty. Doctor, please. You have to unmute.
If I can go back to the basic of blind faith, the word comes from Andhashraddha. Sanskrit word is Andhashraddha. Shraddha is faith and Andha is blind. And all through our Hindu philosophy, there is encouragement for people not to be blind, but to be educated. I'm quite agreeable to the work of unconditional faith, because that is, you don't start putting any conditions on it. I'm sorry, if I can just very quickly show you, I'm in the mandir at the moment and there is a havan going on. So I will give you a quick glimpse of it before I come out and continue. Okay, Gayatri Mantra itself, which you just saw, people singing with Havan, is asking God to give us that knowledge, to give us that faith, so that we can continue to worship you and gain further knowledge from you. And thank you very much to Professor for giving us that knowledge. I have no doubt we have learned quite a lot. I did object to something there, so forgive me for that. But if we encourage our youngsters especially, and not to go for anything blind, anything andhashraddha, then that will be helpful. Devotion is obviously taught in it. Now, if I can come back to the question about science and Gita, almost all paths described in Gita are proven by the science today. For example, meditation, Dhyana Yoga. It is proven that any meditation in any circumstance is helpful physically and mentally. Studies on the spiritual side of it or spiritual benefit of it are lacking because we don't have instruments to measure spirituality. But the brain scans have shown that there are lots of changes in the brain for that. Similarly, happiness studies have shown that when we are working for other people, we become more happy than working selfishly. So Karma Yoga is also proven. Buddhi Yoga, to direct and focus our intellect on one thing at a time. So that focus is again proven time and again from the scientific studies. So everything in it, the devotion to communities, devotion to God is also proven that people who are in jail, they have shown that those who are faithful and religious, they seem not to go back to the same crime as against those who are atheists. So, there are sociological studies, scientific studies, medical studies, which are all proving that whatever was written 5,000 years ago and beyond 5,000 years ago is gradually coming into the modern acceptable territory, as said. I think I'll stop here and let other people ponder on this or question on it.
Thank you, Dr. Bhalla. Just one point. Our international conference will take place end of June. And I'm sure that I'm going to send some of the invitation to some of you to act as a keynote speaker. So we need around 8-9 keynote speakers who will be receiving our invitation. I have still Dr. Sethi, but I would like to give, that we have only 15 minutes to finish the symposium for this one. But I would like to request after Dr. Sethi, if there is no other questions, to our
whenever I go first,
Dada Nityananda Chakraborty, by considering all these, the key points, the critical junctures, and make sum up. And I would like to give him 5 to 6 minutes. I think that's the best way to conclude this session. Now, let's come back to Dr. Sethi, please.
I have a small submission in front of this gathering of scholars and devoted researcher of Bhagavad Gita, that however hard you may try to convince anyone to read Bhagavad Gita, but it happens, this is my experience with Kripa from Lord. It is a Kripa on you that we are sitting, the Kripa on us that we are sitting and talking about Bhagavad Gita. So each and everybody is not a patra. What we have heard, that when you are ready to receive a knowledge with the devotion, with the faith, with unconditional faith, then the teachings will appear and it will go deeper down. Basically, when we see the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, it is managing your own mind. Basically, it is managing your own mind. What Patanjali had described, there are 5 vrittis in the mind, and mind thinks in that way. Logical thinking, praman, viparya, bhramit thinking, and from memory, that is smriti, and kalpana, that is afflictions of the mind. And if the mind is afflicted, there is no better teaching of Bhagavad Gita, and not whole of Bhagavad Gita, because each shlok is so powerful, you will not understand. You have to read the scholar's commentary on that one shlok. And when you read the scholar's commentary or listen to them, then you understand that one shlok. And when you try to implement it on yourself, the people around you will be, automatically, you will be giving them by your actions. They will be listening to you without reading Gita, because your conduct will be so nice, your conduct will be so pure, that what they say, that 80% of the clues you give is from your body language. Now we know about aura also. So we need not speak in words and try to convince anyone if we conduct ourselves by the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. And single shlok, if we follow. My favorite shlok is again, Bhakti Yoga is my 12th chapter is my favorite. And the shlok is, Yasman ne dujite loko, lokan no dujite chaya, harsha marsh bhayo dvegar, mukto yasacha me priya. Bhagwan is saying that one who get disturbed by no one, and who disturbs no one. And in the elation of happiness, and in the irsha, and he's mukta from irsha, harsha, marsh, bhayo, he is fearless. Bhay bhi nahi hai uske andar, he is not fearful. वो मेरे को प्रिय है. So if we work on ourselves and imbibe these virtues, what Bhagwan Krishna is trying to tell us, I think the people surrounding us will be automatically attracted and they'll ask us. And then we can share the knowledge. It doesn't happen without the grace of Almighty. That is my experience.
Thank you, Dr. Sethi. A very insightful additions, what you have added now. I'm sure that we all can take some of the key points and see whether we can apply or integrate what we are doing at the moment to ensure we can manage our mind better way in this unstable world, very hostile and VUCA world. So it was quite interesting. It's now 11:24. We don't have much time. Let us now invite, that I think there's just some request via chat. I know that Professor Shukanto Shah, Professor Shojol Palit, they have published a number of books. And also there is the interpretation by Shojol Palit. If you can share your link so that we can share via our group. Professor Nityananda Chakraborty, he is the first one did the interpretation of Bhagavad Gita in Bengali in Bangladesh. And then it has been published by Bangladesh government to distribute to various schools in Bangladesh. I think more than 35,000 copies were published of this book. He's not only the first interpretation, he has a number of books on the religious, the doctrine, the Hinduism, Indian philosophy, different stories. And he pioneered the concept of Gita Polli. Gita Polli means the village. So the entire village will follow the Gita teachings. What a great idea and innovations. I would like to invite now to further do Professor Chakraborty. Professor, please, over to you. We can't, sound is not much. We can't hear.
Hello.
Yes, it's better now. Yes, it's better.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I am sorry that my laptop has got some problem with sound.
I think it is clear now. It is clear and sound.
But
that is same with me also. My laptop also has the same problem.
Yes, and I was just trying with this with my knowledge, not blindly, but with some knowledge, of course. Anyway, but I could not solve it because it is not an intellectual solution. It may be something more than that. Anyway, thank you all for this presentation, and particularly Dr. Ghosh, Professor Ghosh, who has nicely presented this document, his prepared scripts and slides, and I am happy with that. Now, I think that we are talking about mind control and stress management, particularly focusing to the younger generation, because I could study from the comments of all the respondents here that our new generation, Gita followers, they are really putting questions in different ways to actually gain some insight from Gita in order to have control over mind and also manage the stress that they are facing in everyday life. what I like to say is that we are passing through a crisis coping stage now in all throughout the world. And the new generation is more affected by this stress because they are facing the realities of everyday life. We, the aged people, they can resort to some kind of philosophical solutions which may not come true to the realities. But those who are actually facing the reality, they of course want or deserve some kind of management from Gita lessons. And Dr. Ghosh has nicely put them in a very good order by citing the chapters and slokas and etc. And the critics are also here. They have also criticized upon the blind, faith or some kind of knowledge-based solution, etc. Now, I like to start with, I will not take much time from you, but I like to start from the place that we are talking about a natural human being, not a supernatural one, not a superman, or a rishi or a muni. We are talking about a very ordinary natural human being. The distinction has to be made because we are not going to analyze the mind of the rishis or munis. We are analyzing the mind of the general people like us. And here we are necessarily subject to the actions of the ego, to the workings of the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, which make up by their unstable movement the whole, scope and method of the reason, the mind, and the life and senses, and the body. Therefore, it is a very complex situation which I'm talking about. And within this circle, of course, within this circle, there is no solution to control mind. Within this circle, within the gunas and within the ego and our very unstable state of mind, as Arjuna also said, and Sri Krishna, first, he was trying to respond to his intellectual questions, but at last, Sri Krishna also resorted to the faith in God, after all. But that was as a later stage. But at the initial stage, he was trying to answer to all the intellectual questions by Arjuna as to how to tackle this war and how to avoid this war intelligently so that the damage or loss is minimum, because it was taking his heart and soul and his body, everything. He was telling that his arms were falling from his hands. So he was really in a very desperate situation. Therefore, but Sri Krishna in Gita would not resort to this form of philosophical answer to Arjuna, because it was a very practical problem put to him for a solution. And any kind of thing, for example, to find faith in God, to be very strong believer in God, or to go for meditation, or to go for the mental process of mental purification as the rishis and munis go. This type of solutions he did not go to, because it was not the time and place for Sri Krishna to get to the Upanishad or Vedic type of solutions. He had to come to the practicality of the circumstances. And this intellectual difficulty of Arjuna was then satisfied by Sri Krishna to ask him to be engaged in war, not to fight shy of it, not to evade it. So what we think, my thinking is that this mind control and stress management should be left with the generations, new generation, young guys. They have to work out how they can find the solutions to the stress, how to manage the stress, and how to take a hand or control over those stresses. Because it is one kind of upasana. When Arjuna asked Sri Krishna in chapter 12 about who is better, which is the better meditation, is it with Vigraha or the statue, meditation of the God, or meditation of the Abhyakta, Niranjan, etc., the God who cannot be touched, cannot be found, cannot be heard, cannot be even felt. So Sri Krishna said, no, you have to resort your meditation to a deity, which you believe, to whom you have given all your respect and devotion. So it is Gita is a good solution book for those young guys who can either go by the solutions for reality issues and solutions for the transcendental issues. The reality issues have to be taken care of by 4 stages: the crisis coping, the preparatory, the sustained stage, and the emancipation. These 4 stages. So all of a sudden, we cannot ask a very long order, give a very long order to the young guys that you go for a blind faith, you go for meditation, you go for dhyana, you go for sannasa, all these things. Because those activities have some stages where one should reach, otherwise those things cannot be performed. But a simple educated young guy who does not know even how to sit in a dhyana position, he has to learn it first. And then, so it is a process through which he will be purified. All of a sudden, they cannot. I think, therefore, Dr. Ghosh has suggested to have a faith in Almighty, the faith in the kripa of God, which will lead him to arrive those stages by stages, by his own efforts. Therefore, I would respond to the questions, taking all the questions together. I think I would like to have this kind of solution, that the hesitation of the young guys nowadays to believe in Gita's solutions have a number of reasons to hesitate, because they are beyond their capacities to arrive at those stages or positions to follow those directives. What we should do, we have the Gita principles, and the way the process has been devised by Sri Krishna himself in Gita. Those processes have to be followed very meticulously, so that no one, everyone will by default arrive at a very good position to get to the conclusion or take a decision at the crisis moment. So this crisis coping stage will then be evaded by taking to the preparatory stage, by just giving up the tamasic work. And tamasic and rajasic, these are the 2 things, gunas, which impede a young guy to divulge into, to get into the wrong type of decisions in his life or her life. I would say that the upward internal process of progress from initially crisis coping mode to the preparatory mode, and from preparatory to the takeoff mode, and from takeoff mode to the sustained mode, I mean towards moksha, we should lead those young people into this process of upgrading him, upgrading his mental state, and go through a disciplinary process. Maintaining the serenity of mind, for example, the maintaining kindness, the simplicity, silence, honesty of motive, control of the sense organs in the body, and regular studies of the Vedas or Upanishad or Gita, etc. These are the ways of how one can control the mind. But this is a gradual process. All of a sudden, we cannot expect a young guy to follow all the things together. It has to have, and ultimately what they will get is the very firm confidence, firm belief in God, that there is one force above all which will guide us in the long run. And this mind is very restless, very difficult to control. We talk about controlling mind and stressing management, but this is very difficult. And Sri Krishna in Gita also admitted that. And what are the practices that enable human beings in controlling their mind? The process is a host of physical and psychological processes, which are subject to be abided by. And the lower derivatives of nature have to be thought shy of, have to be avoided. Gunas, for example, Rajas gunas and Tamas gunas, dictating the human mind to be restless, turbulent, strong, unyielding. And practices here means those turning the mental state around from those towards Sattvic human nature. So therefore, when our souls are enveloped by ignorance, shut up in the prison of ego, beset, hammered, and molded by the environment, mastered by the mechanism of nature, cut off from our hold on the reality of our own secret spiritual force, it is really difficult in this environment to follow the dictates of Gita. But what is reality is that we have to resort to this in the long run, otherwise we will fail. Practicing for control of mind means trying instantly, incessantly, to mold them towards the principle of mind's own evolving freedom and perfection, not by the dictates of external rules of law or orders or ethics.
Sorry, Dada, if you can just sum up quickly.
I think
1 minute.
that this is a very complicated process which we have to go through. Otherwise, we cannot achieve those. Had it been very easy for a thirsty man to get water in the desert, it was no problem. But in the desert, a glass of water is really very rare. We cannot get it. But in order to quench the thirst of that person, we have to bring one glass of water. A handful of sand will not do. Therefore, in the modern system, our problems are as intricated or as complicated as the old days also. Old days had also same complexities and same mental phenomena which are complex. Therefore, the simple thing is that we have taken resort to God ultimately, and the resting on our own knowledge only is not enough. Our knowledge is really shallow and enveloped by our ego and our gunas. So in order to have a good society, in order to have a good character among the young generation, we have to ask them very patiently to be patient and wiser to get through the process of how to correct our gunas from Shakti, from Tamosh and Rajash to Shakti. And I think there is no solution other than this in order to purify ourselves, to attain both our real life problems, to attain the solutions of our real life problems, and also our transcendental life. Thank you so much. And I am really indebted to Dr. Ghosh for his presentation, because this has given us the chance to revive the knowledge again in us, because we do not regularly practice these things. But when this kind of event comes up, we can revisit the knowledge and then get stronger. Thank you very much, Dr. Datta,
Thank you, Dada.
for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, Nityananda Chakraborty Da. I think with this, we need to finish. I think it's quite very healthy discussions we had, very stimulating discussion. I'm sure that some of the teachings we have discussed, or you have proposed, or initiated, can help us to have the mental resilient, also sometimes ethical conduct and the spiritual growth. On behalf of Bhagavad Gita Research Foundation, our special gratitude to Professor Ghosh for bringing such a wonderful and very stimulating. You could see the interest it has developed among the august scholar, and the audience is immense. And I'm sure that we all will be taking away something and apply in our everyday life. Again, your presentations, your thoughts, your ideas are appreciated by one and all. Our special gratitude to all of you, the audience, who has a growth and wonderful mindset with the knowledge and understanding about the world, what we are facing now. The great scholar. Without you, this could not be a fantastic platform for stimulation, platform for thought-provoking, and platform for fruitful discussion. Again, thank you so much to all of you. With that, I would like to invite that our next international conference will take place end of June. The next edition of the International Journal of Hinduism and Philosophy will come out end of August. Your participation, your contribution always will be appreciated by all. I think this is one of the ways as a scholar to disseminate with the wider audience. Stay well. Wish you all the best. And again, thank you for taking trouble during the weekend time. Sunday, you can see many people joined many parts of the world and coming and enriching this quarterly symposium here today. Please enjoy the rest of the day. Wish you all the best. And the recording, PowerPoint, and the photographs will be shared with you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank
Namaste.
you.
Namaste.
Thank you.